The Mage Hunters. Though the Retribution has greatly increased in size and scope, the core of the original organization remains. Its membership, the Mage Hunters, embody the fundamental convictions of the cause. These efficient hunters have worked outside of Ios for centuries, divided into clandestine cells, conducting operations within human kingdoms. The primary purpose of these cells was to execute strikes against human wizards and warcasters. They conduct missions to gather information, to sabotage arcane research and mechanica production facilities, and to assassinate significant human arcanists. The cells focus on undermining the most pervasive and powerful organizations of human wizards, particularly those serving military interests such as Kador's Grey Lord Covens or Signar's Militant Order of the Arcane Tempest. They have additionally struck against private organizations like the Fraternal Order of Wizardry and the Order of the Groden Crucible. The pace and execution of these attacks is carefully calculated to avoid compromising their secrecy. Mage Hunters comprise the espionage and assassination arm of the Retribution, supported by sleeper agents throughout the Iron Kingdoms. Several Mage Hunters have manifested Warcaster talent. Having undergone additional training to refine these skills, they serve as the deadliest of the Retribution's strike leaders. These Warcasters are not permanently tied down to any specific task force. Instead, they move frequently between operational regions as ordered by the Nine Voices. Mage Hunter talent at obfuscation and deception serve them well in strikes against human military targets. Their pre-existing network of secret bases across Western Immoran provide the Retribution with far greater mobility and reach than outsiders might expect or suspect. These resources and operatives make it possible to conduct very deep strikes within the interior of the human kingdoms. A small but fanatical priesthood encourages and actively supports the Mage Hunters. These priests are dedicated to a radical interpretation of Skyrah's faith that predates the Retribution. They describe the goddess as a battle-ready maiden, not the peaceful avatar of spring traditionally depicted. Human deities, they believe, work together to strike her down alongside the other members of the Divine Court as part of some nefarious scheme to bestow arcane lore on the unworthy human species. The priesthood strives to ensure Mage Hunters never waver in their convictions. Their preaching encourages Mage Hunters to remember the imminent doom of their people, a doom only their acts can forestall. Addendum: Myrmidon Invention. Though the citizens of the old Empire of Lyos were well versed in advanced arcanica, Myrmidons are a relatively recent innovation. The power systems and intricate mechanical elements are based on a considerably older and well-established arcane technologies, but the idea of using those techniques to create battle-ready automatons arose as a result of seeing the effective use of such machineries by humanity. Elven Asians observed how the Colossals repulsed the Orgoth and how effective the smaller warjacks have proved in later wars. Arcanic specialist houses such as Shiel and Vire are confident they could replicate the warjack chassis and even greatly improve upon them. The most vital missing element was the fabrication process for the central control device that would enable machines to operate semi-autonomously. While the Hautair do not openly acknowledge the fact, fabrication of Myrmidon cortexes was made only possible by the theft and deconstruction of those of the human warjacks. The Iosan versions are considerably redesigned and bear little to no resemblance to their human-made counterparts. It is likely no one in the Retribution aside from the House Shael artifactors has any idea the role played by human cortexes in the invention of these devices. Given Mage Hunters' attitudes towards human mechanica, this is probably for the best. End addendum. Mage Hunters believe human magic is a blight on Skyrah, and therefore every eliminated human wizard or sorcerer relieves the goddess's suffering just a little bit more. They see human mechanica as similarly tainted, and its proliferation a contributor to Skyrah's incapacitation. By escalating to full-on war, the organization hopes to eradicate the affliction permanently, and thereby restore the goddess to her former health and glory. No measure is too extreme given the stakes. If the Retribution must annihilate every human warcaster, wizard, and warjack to achieve their goal, so be it. Some conduct this task coldly, simply as a pragmatic necessity, while others enjoy their bloody work and nurse a deep and abiding hatred of humanity as a whole. Finding and training skilled mage hunters remains as difficult as it is essential. Most of the most recent upswing in Retribution membership has been among the House Guard soldiery, not the mage hunters. It takes a special combination of zeal, ruthlessness, and raw combat prowess to become a mage hunter. Senior agents always are looking for good prospects to send to the Skyvesh stronghold to be transformed into efficient stalkers and hunters of mankind. Those who survive the early difficult years may ask to be returned for additional specialized training according to their individual aptitudes. A broad range of specialties reinforce the mage hunter ranks, including wilderness trackers, expert bladesmen, marksmen, mechanical disruptors, and experts in intrusion and espionage. At the top of their field are the living legends, mage hunters like Eris, the most renowned mage hunter of Iros, or Gareth, the blade of the Retribution. All junior mages aspire to reach such heights, and they are more than willing to climb a mountain of human corpses to do so. The Dawn Guard and the House Guard. Commanded by House Nyar, the Dawn Guard is a martial order with roots stretching back to the ancient Laos Empire. It has evolved into a highly efficient and self-contained army capable of conducting extensive military operations with little to no external support. The Dawn Guard fields a versatile mix of infantry and cavalry, as well as more focused specialists, and its soldiers are armed with the most advanced Iosan weapons and armor. The Dawn Guard are impeccable warriors, drilled to coordinate their actions and conditioned to be absolutely loyal to their native house. They serve the Retribution because their house leaders have ordered them to do so, not for any personal commitment to the cause. The Dawn Guard is divided into three branches: the Sentinels, the Invictors, and the Distorters. The Sentinels and the Invictors together comprise the elite infantry of the Retribution. The Distorters are the heavy cavalry of the force. Officer commissions in the Dawn Guard are based on the combination of blood ties and service performance. Many top-ranking officers in the Dawn Guard are also nobles of House Nyar, including the current Dawn Lords, though in the Order's history there have been several examples of officers from outside the noble family rising to this esteemed rank. While technically all Dawn Lords are equal and subordinate to Council Kaesir Nyar, the Warcaster Dawn Lord Viros Nyar is deferred as the ranking field commander. The House Guard is not nearly as cohesive or simply structured. These loose companies are populated with soldiers who were either volunteered to join the Retribution or were dispatched by their houses. The House Guard makes up the rank and file line of the Retribution military and includes both commoners and noble-born soldiers. The men and women of the House Guard may seem identical to their counterparts in the direct service of Ios, but there are significant differences in motivation and resolve. Those who serve the Home Guard coalition have chosen the safer career, as Ios's borders are historically see very little conflict. Those who volunteer to join the Retribution have done so despite the censure of disapproving families and have chosen a path of certain peril. Many have volunteered from a strong belief in the Retribution cause, inspired by recent events and the rhetoric of the Retribution recruiters and priests. Some of the lesser houses that provide House Guard companies hope to secure alliances with Nyar and Shiel and perhaps one day share in their fortunes. Among the House Guard are experienced career soldiers belonging to companies that joined the Retribution at the behest of a noble with whom they have sworn loyalty to. A number of mid-tier nobles agreed to help the Retribution and have sent their house soldiers to fight as a demonstration of solidarity. While such soldiers may lack the fervor of volunteer recruits, they bring years of experience to the table. Their pragmatic approach is an appreciated balance of the zealotry of the enthusiasm of youth. House Guard provides the bulk of the Retribution's numbers, primarily halberdiers and riflemen. This is the main body of the Retribution army, and its basic role is to leverage its massive strength where such numbers are the most efficient and effective. House Guard forces are used to hold ground, occupy enemy forces, or thin enemy ranks by delivering massed fire. Engagements unfold with the House Guard forces tying up the enemy while mage hunters advance past the lines to strike at the head, such as a commanding warcaster in this case. In order for engagement in other engagements, the line is tasked to pin the enemy in place, while the Dawn Guard maneuver to crush them from different angle of attack. Though House Guard soldiers do not receive the same acclaim as Dawn Guard or Mage Hunters, they can expect to endure heavy casualties during massed battle. The stark fact is of their regular sacrifice and bravery garners them deep respect for the more specialized elements of the Retribution military. In time, specific House Guard companies will distinguish themselves and earn reputations for valor in battle. Others may be destroyed to the last man and be forgotten by all but their mourning kinsmen. Such is the life in the line.